Now, when we talk about these players moving and stuff, we got some big names that are either going to get bought out or traded. Some of the names being Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, Boogie Cousins, and Victor Oladipo. Where do you guys think they should get traded or signed to if they get bought out?
Well, I want to talk about like some of the more realistic situations. I think Andre Drummond's probably going to be one of the hotter names and one of the more hotter commodities. I know there's a stigma around Andre Drummond that he's not necessarily, he doesn't necessarily contribute to wins, but I think 1,000% he's going to be the hottest name. And I think the best fit for him would have to be the LA Lakers. The LA Lakers definitely are in desperate need of a center, in desperate need of a true center, not the kind of in and out center like a Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, excuse me. They need a true flat out block shots, get rebounds, and get buckets in the paint type of center. I think Andre Drummond definitely fills that need. I think once Blake Griffin gets bought out, I think a very good team for him would probably be the Boston Celtics. They're lacking. They're basically lacking paint production. I think Blake Griffin, even though he's a very older player, he's probably not going to necessarily bang on people like how he used to bang on people. But I think down low, him being a very good presence, it would be a very good thing for that team, especially because that team's been struggling over the past couple of games. I think Boogie's best fit. I'm a little bit biased, man, because I'm a Miami Heat fan. I think Boogie would probably do a very good job in Miami. I think one of the things that we're desperately lacking, not necessarily for defensive purposes, but just rebounds, just ending defensive possessions. Miami Heat right now, we're basically like at the top of the league in regards to field goal percentage allowed. If we could just finish off those defensive possessions with a defensive rebound, it would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think, and not to be biased, but I'm looking at strictly team needs. I would love to see Andre Drummond in Chicago, man. I think when you got a guy like Zach LaVine going out there scoring 30 every single night just for us to stay in the game, and every single one of our forwards being, in the Chicago hospital, I think we need at least one good center. And Andre Drummond, like you said, Andre Drummond, man, people they get the wrong idea about him. Like, he's more than just rebounds and garbage points. He adds paint protection, and he's a big body. And he's very energetic. He's that workhorse that you get on the team. Now, as far as Boogie Cousins, I mean, I don't think we got a big enough sample size to really see what Boogie Cousins is. Houston didn't really give him a chance to really show who he is. He had glimpses of a Sacramento Boogie, but I don't know which Boogie you will be signing. He wasn't known as a defender. At this point, he's really known as a sometimes slashing, sometimes shooting. You got to really put him in a position to succeed. So I do like your pick with Miami. I think a guy like Boogie having that attitude along with Jimmy and all of those guys, just straight dogs, I think that he would fit in perfectly in Miami. A guy like Blake Griffin, call me crazy, I want to see Blake Griffin reunite with Chris Paul. I think that would be the best fit for him. I think if you get a guy like Blake Griffin to reunite with Chris Paul where he had his most success, not only would you see a more motivated Blake Griffin, a better Blake Griffin, but you will also see him rub off on a guy like DeAndre Ayton, who, Blake Griffin may not have the athleticism anymore, but he's changed his game well enough to have the skill. And I think if you get him and a guy like DeAndre Ayton working together, that'd be good for the future of Phoenix. And then lastly, we got a guy like Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo, he's getting blackballed in a sense because people forgot. If it was not for a Bron goaltend that wasn't called, he could possibly have been in the finals for Indiana. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it didn't happen that way. Basketball is about what is, not what ifs. And it didn't happen that way. But I think a guy like Victor Oladipo, I don't know, maybe Golden State right now. Because I think if you surround him with enough shooters, maybe. But I'm not really too sure about where I would like to see Vic right now.
Vic is really versatile. Like he can do a lot of things on the basketball court that really do go unnoticed, and I feel like that's why he's getting blackballed because he's not putting up crazy numbers, but he gets the job done on the basketball court. And if he gets bought out and able to sign, depending on how much he's asking for, I feel like a player like Victor Oladipo would do great on the New York Knicks, and he will help that young core out a lot. And they will start to become better players all around. And I feel like him being coached by somebody like Tom Thibodeau, they already have the best defense in the league. But if you add someone like that defense, it might be in the we might be able to use the word elite for that defense with like just the way they're coming together. And if we're talking about DeMarcus Cousins, I really don't know where because to really say where he can go, we have to know what he can give. And that's right. The Houston Rockets were only playing him I think 20 minutes a game. Now, is that because that's what they think he can handle, or is he just good enough to get 20 minutes? That's the thing. If he is good, if he's better than just playing 20 minutes, can you imagine DeMarcus Cousins on the Brooklyn Nets? That will be scary.
Whoa.
If we can, not even a Sacramento Boogie, if we can picture a New Orleans Boogie on the Brooklyn Nets, that I might have to put them over the Lakers.
That's
scary.
That's scary.
That's scary. Now, if we go down to Blake, I'm sorry, guys. I don't think Blake has a place in the league anymore. Like, for him to be on a team, for Blake, no, that's no disrespect to Blake. Like, Blake, I love Blake, but when I say no place in the league, I feel like he has no place in the league to really make a difference on a team in the league. And that being said, I don't really know where to put Blake Griffin either. It's a tough say because I really don't know. I don't see his skill set being used in the NBA right now. Not in this current NBA, not in the state of basketball's in. And then Andre Drummond is I love his game because he's a hustle player. He grabs boards and he goes right up with him. He's led the league in rebounds for who knows how many seasons. And people be thinking Andre Drummond is old. He's still under 30. He's a pretty young player. So whoever gets him, if he stays healthy, I feel like it'll be like finding a diamond in the rough. Now he does stuff the stat sheets with the points and the rebounds, but one thing I've noticed late game, a lot of times they take him out the game because they feel like he's an offensive liability. But I feel like if he finds the right system where he can stay in the game in important times, he can be a really valuable asset for a lot of teams that are contending.
See, where I land on Blake Griffin, I think, having him reunite with Chris Paul would be a dream. It would be absolutely impeccable. But the problem with the Suns, in my opinion, is that they're arguably the deepest roster in the league. Ever since they got healthy, they went on a crazy stretch. Like, they were 9-9 before they got healthy. Now they're healthy. They have a rotation of like 10 people deep. Like, the person that they had starting, like, playing like 30 minutes in the bubble, Cam Johnson, he's getting like damn near 16 minutes a night now. That's how deep they are. So I think Blake Griffin over there, if they bring him over there, I think he'll definitely be in a rotation, but he probably wouldn't have as much of effect if he would have joined the Celtics. But I think 1000% Blake Griffin has a place in the league. The thing about Blake Griffin is that he needs to be directed to score the basketball. He doesn't need to be usually trying to create. I don't want Blake Griffin bring the ball. I don't want him being on the wing. Be in the paint and look to score the basketball when you get dumped and fed to it, and especially off the rolls and pick and rolls. He needs a direct role because with the Pistons, he's trying to defer to other people. He's trying to defer to Jeremy Grant. Oh, it's his team now. He left the Nuggets. He wants to be that guy. I think Blake Griffin just needs direct instructions, just like Carmelo Anthony. As far as Andre Drummond, you mentioned the Brooklyn Nets, man. You didn't necessarily mention Andre Drummond to the Brooklyn Nets, but I think him going to the Brooklyn Nets would probably be the most devastating thing that could happen to the NBA. The most devastating thing I think if Andre Drummond goes to the Brooklyn Nets, we might as well pack it up. Might as well start tanking. I didn't even bring up the Nets because that's just unfair. As it is right now, that team seems to be unfair. You put a paint presence in like Andre Drummond and a defensive paint presence like Andre Drummond, something that they're lacking, I think it's over. But now, as far as Victor Oladipo, I think y'all hit it on the head. He's one of the most underrated players in the league as of right now, ever since he came off of that injury. And one of the things that's super underrated about him is that he plays very good defense. I think he'd definitely be a very good help with Golden State because, of course, even though they're not necessarily too much struggling with defense, he definitely add to their perimeter defense. Him at the Knicks defensively will be devastating for that team because they're already very good defensively. It'll just be adding to a very good cause. I think they'll definitely gain from that. But I think Victor Oladipo would have to be traded. I don't think he's necessarily going to be bought out right now, but I think they're probably going to trade him for something dirt cheap. So essentially like a buyout, probably like a second round pick or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as you guys were talking, I thought of one quick place that I might like to see Vic. I might like to see Vic in LA, man, alongside Bron and AD. I think. Listen, they're in need of another playmaker because for times like this where you have Dennis Schroeder out, and if Bron decides to like low manage or you want to just take some of the responsibility off of Bron, I think a guy like Victor Oladipo does a great thing for them. And then Bron is one of those rare players that makes everybody around him better. So you might not know what Vic you're going to get, but if he plays next to LeBron, you might get a pretty good, close to all-star caliber Victor Oladipo. It's just a thought, though.